Chicago, 1923. Stepping out of Union Station, a blast of the July humidity and the acrid smell of coal smoke hit Eleanor Vance's face. The air was heavy, as if all the city's factory smokestacks and slaughterhouses had concentrated their grime into a thick blanket. The thought of the fresh, open air of Sinclairsville, Ohio, made her heart ache. Eleanor gripped her single suitcase tightly. The cheap brown cardigan was sticking to her sweaty back. Her gray eyes surveyed the crowds, the towering buildings, and the swift-moving black Ford automobiles, partly in wonder, but mostly in fear. "Taxi, miss?" a cap-wearing driver called out. Eleanor swallowed hard and pulled a folded scrap of paper from her bag. It had an address written on it. "South Wabash Avenue," she said in a quiet voice. The driver glanced at her strangely. That section of Wabash Avenue was no place for a respectable young woman to be alone. But he merely shrugged. A fare was a fare. The taxi pushed through the city traffic. Eleanor remembered that night 6 months ago. Her brother Arthur had come home for the last time. Arthur had always been the family's worry. He had returned from the army 2 years prior, but the battlefields of France had taken something essential from him. He was suffocating in the quiet life of Ohio. "I'm going to Chicago, Ellie," he had told her, a new strange glint in his eyes. "The city is a gold mine right now. Everyone's getting rich. Prohibition is a joke. People want water, and I'm going to sell it to them." Eleanor hadn't understood then. She had thought Arthur was going to sell soda or ginger ale.
The taxi stopped in a run-down neighborhood. The houses here were sooty, the streets broken. Eleanor paid the fare and stepped out, finding herself standing in front of a cigar store. This was the address? "But this is just—" she faltered. The bell above the shop door jingled. The interior was dark, heavy with the strong smell of tobacco. Behind the counter, a corpulent man was dozing. "I'm looking for Arthur Vance," Eleanor almost whispered. The man didn't open his eyes. "No one by that name works here." "But he gave me this address." Eleanor's voice trembled. Was it all over? Would she have to return to that farm in Ohio? "Please," she said desperately, "he's my brother. He said he worked here." The man finally looked up, annoyed. Just then, a curtain at the back of the shop parted. A man emerged wearing an expensive silk suit and a diamond ring on his hand, but his eyes were cold, like ice. "You're Arthur's sister?" the man asked in English, though with a distinct Italian accent. Eleanor merely nodded. The man smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Arthur spoke of you often, said you were very smart. He was right. Finding him behind this cigar shop isn't easy." He pulled the back curtain fully aside. "Come inside, kiddie. Your brother is waiting for you." From behind the curtain, the fast rhythm of jazz piano floated out, along with the distinct smell of cigarette smoke and forbidden whiskey. Eleanor Vance realized she hadn't just stepped into the city of Chicago. She had stepped into the secret world of the 1920s, a place from which it would not be easy to return. The moment Eleanor crossed the curtain, the raw, energetic blare of the jazz music hit her. This was the Foxhole, one of South Chicago's most infamous and secretive speakeasies, or illegal drinking joints. The atmosphere was a world away from her quiet life in Sinclairsville. In the center of the room, a pianist was tearing up the keys on a round wooden stage. Gray smoke curled toward the ceiling in swirling clouds, made denser by the yellowish glow of the gaslights. Men in expensive, double-breasted suits were paired with girls dressed as flappers, bobbed hair, bright red lipstick, all engaged in the frantic rhythm of the Charleston. Everyone was laughing, shouting, and sipping from glass tumblers filled with a liquor whose public mention was forbidden. The man who had brought her inside, Rico, gestured and led her through the throng. Rico wore a look of cool confidence, the kind shared by almost everyone here. "Here's your brother," Rico said dryly. Eleanor spotted him at a small table in the corner, Arthur Vance. He too wore a sharp suit, his hair slicked back with too much pomade. But what caught Eleanor's eye most was not a ring, but a small switchblade with which he was meticulously peeling an orange. "Arthur!" Eleanor rushed to embrace him. Arthur seemed surprised at first, then laughed heartily. "Ellie! What gives? You wrote, but I didn't think you'd blow into town so fast. Good on ya. What's there to do in Ohio besides count chickens?" The old simplicity was gone from Arthur's eyes. In its place was a guarded excitement and a watchful caution. "In your letter, you only wrote that you started a big business. Is this the business, Arthur?" she whispered, looking around. "It's a speakeasy." Arthur burst out laughing. "Ellie, it's not just a speakeasy. It's the economic engine of this whole neighborhood. And I don't just work here. I'm the manager of this little juice joint." Rico, standing nearby, muttered something under his breath in Italian. Arthur snapped at him. "Rico, mind your manners. She's my sister." Arthur waved Eleanor into a chair. "Listen, Ellie, Prohibition wasn't set up to dry up the country. It was set up to make guys like us rich overnight. Johnny Torrio and his boys are the real rulers of Chicago now. They run everything. Bootlegging, gambling, brothels, even a few politicians." "And you? Are you a bootlegger?" Eleanor pressed, fighting her fear. Arthur leaned in, speaking in a quiet but proud tone. "I'm not just a bootlegger. I'm Rico's number cruncher. My job is bringing in the booze from out of town, distributing it, and keeping all the books straight. My head for figures is valuable. I didn't flinch an inch from the French mud, but one wrong dollar in these books, and my head could fly off." Rico cracked a small smile and instinctively touched his hip, checking for his gun. Eleanor knew instantly that Arthur was hiding a terrifying danger behind his playful facade. "Where am I staying, Arthur? Do I stay with you?" Arthur paused. "No, Ellie, it wouldn't be safe for you here. But don't worry, I talked to Rico. He fixed you up."
Rico stepped forward. "Your brother insists you stay at a respectable hotel downtown. There's a nice place just past Wabash Avenue. But listen, Kitty, your brother said you are not to tell anyone what you're really doing in Chicago." Eleanor understood. She was to be the cover for her brother's secret life. Her role was to appear normal on the surface, so no one would guess Arthur Vance was counting mob money. Arthur shoved a small roll of cash into Eleanor's hand. "A little dough and the hotel address. You're beat. Come find me tomorrow morning. But Ellie, remember one thing. Nothing here is what it seems on the outside. This joint is the foxhole, and you're in the fox's territory now." Eleanor clutched the money. The sound of the piano no longer seemed lively, but rather a warning. She stood up, and Rico ushered her through the dark cigar shop and back into the damp air of nighttime Chicago. She was alone, with a handful of money from her brother and the secrets of an unknown world swirling in her mind.